All right. Good day, everyone, and welcome to our investigations involving multimedia webinar. I'm honored that you've chosen to spend some time with me today as we delve into the methodologies you can employ in your multimedia investigations. ADF Solutions has been on the forefront of child exploitation investigations with not only triage, but has the ability to quickly identify, sort, filter, tag, and report on child exploitation and child sexual abuse material. It's built into our tools. There are several technologies and features available to help you get the files of interest quickly, including hashing, keywords, classification, age detection, photo probability, matching, auto tagging, all of which will have a mention and a show in today's webinar. We do have a chat box if you have or questions, chat and question. Yeah, we have a questions box there if you want to ask some questions today. So, I'm your host. I'm Rich Frawley, and I'm the Director of Training and the Subject Matter Expert with ADF Solutions. I appreciate you joining us today as we take a look at the multimedia functionality and a demonstration of the technology and features and a walkthrough of how they work in your investigation. I came to ADF Solutions after my 22-year career in law enforcement, and 17 of those years as a forensic examiner and investigator assigned to the computer crime unit. If nothing else in my career, I learned the value of triage and reducing backlog. Coming from a one-man shop that assisted and supported many other departments, I was constantly involved in ICAC investigations, and if you let them, they will quickly bog you down. So, understanding your tool and understanding them to their potential is essential. One of my biggest cases involved a school teacher and over 750,000 images spread over multiple devices. We had over 60,000 chargeable CSAM images and 3,000 videos, and a plethora of child exploitation material above and beyond that. And yes, I know what a plethora is. Movie quote there. But not only was he charged with these, he was also a classroom voyeur and went hands on with a family member, which we also caught on one of the videos that we were going through there. So, as a company, we're focused on solutions. It's even in our name. You're trying to solve investigations, and we're focused on developing technology solutions that will help you do your job faster, with a primary focus of helping you protect victims. It's why we're all here today. As a company, we've been around for over 17 years, and our foundations are rooted in forensic triage. The early years were spent creating software specifically for image identification and analysis for child exploitation. So you can see that we go back to the beginning with our topic today, a dinosaur in the industry, if you will. Our immediate value as a triage tool was in providing on scene intelligence and capture that potential evidentiary information. It has since morphed in solutions that are easier to use for investigators in helping reduce that case backlog. Not only have we evolved that way, but our technology also includes support for hundreds of file types and artifacts, and a better way to link all that information quicker than any other solution on the market. The theme has remained consistent in our mission statement. It's to help investigators and examiners get to the relevant information faster. So today we focus on getting you through the images. We're going to walk through some tips and tricks to help you maximize your ADF usage when analyzing images. I've done a large scan, probably about 70,000 images on a device, and we're going to walk through the steps that can help you get to what you need, filter out what you've already seen, and further filter down to what you're looking for to help you analyze and tag and get this out of your way. You really don't want to have to look at stuff more than you need to. And you'll see how easy it is to move through these large quantities. We'll focus a little bit on search profile setup. That's important with the tool. Move into hashing and keywords, how you can use them, the different ways they can be utilized, uh, and we'll show you that and how that specifically ends up in your results. And then once you have your results and you're ready to look for them, we're going to go through the filtering and classification and really show you what the capabilities are here. So let me uh, minimize that and we'll bring you into um, digital evidence investigator here, and we're going to be investigating on the computer side. However, what I am showing you here today in the analysis portion also works on our mobile tool. There is absolutely no difference in the capabilities in collecting images, filtering the images, classifying the images, um, hashing. You could bring in the hashes on mobile. You could bring them in on computer. So this covers everything. It's not just a computer. However, the scan I used today was done from a drive. So large quantities of pictures, right? So when conducting an investigation involving the multimedia, the quantities can be quite overwhelming, especially when they include your child exploitation material and your CSAM material. And it's not just that material that is included in the collection of the search. Typically, there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of files, including images and videos that have to be sorted through. Not only can the amount of files be daunting, but the reason for conducting the intense file filtering has multiple purposes. The images will be broken down into several categories so that you can properly charge in the case, right? The court can enhance if necessary. They go for enhancements based on what's in the images. Um, or the images can be properly, you do this so they can be properly submitted for review on victim identification. And the question is, how do you make such an exhaustive search of the files in a timely manner that also allows you to be accurate and not have to subject yourself to these images over and over again? There's no doubt it takes a special person to be able to do the work required in crimes against children cases. It takes a strong mind and patience. And for me, when I was doing this, I always knew there would be results on the back end: an arrest, a victim identified or rescued, a monster off the street. That would make the time that you spent on the front end worthwhile. That delayed gratification in knowing the job was done right also gave the desire to find a way to optimize the time required to get the case closed. Let's talk a little bit about pre-planning, if you will. It's not necessarily something you have to stop and do, right? It's kind of second nature to everybody when you're looking in cases and what do I need. Um, but let's walk through setting up a scan with like the minimal items we'll need for a good multimedia investigation. The goal here is to think of all the ways we can get images tagged and filtered out or matched and brought to the top for easy analysis. So when you're setting up the scans here, we have our library. You can copy any one of these profiles that we have. So we have them set for child exploitation. They come with the child exploitation keywords, right? The low-hanging fruit, and that's one of the first things we want to make sure we have is those child exploitation keywords that we run against file and folder names. That's just gonna when they download these Lolita, PTHC, Hussy, all these keywords, if it's in the file name, it'll grab it and bring it to the top for you. So if you see we have one of these, you can turn on or turn off. You can copy and edit this. You just click on the capture group, go to the capture, and turn on or turn off what you want. If you're focusing, on everything, you'll want to go step by step. If it's just multimedia, we do have a multimedia section, and we have the child exploitation section. So when you're going through this, you need to think, what am I scanning? Is it operating system or non-operating system? Our profiles are set. Most of our default profiles are set to run against an operating system. That's typically what you're doing. But if you're going to run one of those against a non-operating system drive, a storage drive, you're not going to get anything. So you got to make sure that you either use a comprehensive scan, which is designed to scan non-operating as well as operating, or just create your own that's going to go in and look regardless of folder structure. It's just going to look at the file system. The other thing you need to decide here is this triage or is it comprehensive, right? So if it's triage, I'm going to really want to focus in maybe on the user profiles, grab as much as I can in a short amount of time. And it doesn't matter if you grab 6,000 images in a triage or 150,000 images in a comprehensive scan. The way we're going to filter through this today is going to be exactly the same and save you the time. It doesn't really matter there how many you collect, but setting up your profile does. If you are going out on scene and most of the people I talk to are like 3 hours is the limit you want to be out there. You don't want to be scanning that full 3 hours. Your triage you want to happen, in the first couple of minutes you want to be able to see something and make a decision. And if you want this for investigative purposes, let it run a little bit longer. That's the way most of ours are set. Maybe it takes 10, 15 minutes to run, maybe 20 minutes to run if it's set up the right way. But within that first 5 minutes, you're going to see your violations. You're going to see your contraband. You're going to see your unique keywords that are getting hit. So you're going to know you're on the right computer. And then the choice is yours there. Do I stop it and seize the computer and make the arrest? Or like I said, let it run the 10, 15 minutes. Now collect all that information that you can now go back and use in your investigation, preservation orders, search warrants, and such, right? Especially if you're live, you get your saved credentials, right? So you're going to have all their usernames and passwords for all the accounts they have, and within an hour, you could be sitting there faxing off or emailing off your preservation orders, um, so that stuff doesn't get lost. So anyways, you can come in here, turn on, turn off everything that we give you. You can customize, right? So we can add our unique keywords. We can add our hash values here. Let me just go down here. I have a group here that is my custom hash sets that I brought in. You can see it's a long list. Once you bring them in, they're in. You turn them on or turn them off. You can share them with other people. You could export them. They could import them, especially with the Project Vic. I think I sat down a couple years ago with a customer during training. They uploaded the entire Project Vic hash set. It took them about 15 minutes on the computer to create the capture, and then they exported it on a thumb drive, and the next person imported it, and that only took 5 minutes. So we cut 10 minutes off the time by sharing it between the computers and the tools that they're using. But you bring in your hash sets, you turn them on, you bring in your unique keywords, you turn them on. Any unique keyword that might have a file named for it, you want to use. So like I said before, PTHC, Lolita, Hussy Fan, well, all those child exploitation keywords, you're gonna want to make sure that you run that list, and we run it against the file names and folder names right at the beginning, so you'll see those hits. Victims' names, right? If you know there's a victim, or if you know there might be somebody that they went hands-on with, I would run those names, as as long as they're not going to generate a whole bunch of false positives, and it usually won't against file names and folder names, but that'll help you get in there as well. Your hashes, you want to bring in your own hash sets, right? And you're going to want to bring in your Project Vic or your CADE. Triage, if you have the ability to bring in just your Cat 1s and your Cat 2s, you can do that, right? Or with your CADE, whatever category is going to be chargeable for you. And if you're doing comprehensive, you bring the whole thing in, and that way it'll classify for you. And that's where you need to know, what am I doing here? How long do I want it to run? And we are always here to help you put that together. Okay, let me just check over here. Everything's looking good. So we did the hashes, and then at the end, you have the ability when you're setting up profiles on whether you want to carve or not. The comprehensive end, absolutely go for the carving. Triage, absolutely not. It's just going to bog you down. So after your scan has run, I left that screen up there enough. I'm going to go to my review scan results. I have some results that I had here. When I ran it, the search profile, this was specifically run to catch some artifacts. I wanted investigative material. I wanted download history. That way, again, those unique child exploitation and victim names and stuff. Had they been run in any URLs, you would have seen that in the keyword searches. So I ran that. This took about 15 minutes to run. It collected 75,605 files. And now we're going to break down how we did this and what it looks like. Now, I haven't come in here. I haven't done any uh, analysis of this yet. You're seeing it just as you would as the scan ended. Tag statistics, this red line up here is showing me that there's 73 files that automatically were tagged during the scan. What's that mean? If I have a cyber tip, Google sends me 100 images. When I create my hash list, I could point to that folder that has those files in it. It will hash those files for me, and I can tell it, if you find these, tag them, put a comment on it that says cyber tip, and put it in here. And you can see here under my hash list, that's what I have, 16 images. 32 of them were located on this computer. My list, I brought in my own hash list, so there's 171 hits on that. And then the Project Vic and Cade list, there was 41 hits on that. So out of all these hash sets that I ran, 73 of them automatically tagged for me. The rest will have an indication of what I did. So here's my hash sets. I could click on the 16 hashes that I put in here and see what was gathered. In today's webinar, you're going to see a mixture to show some of the different things I have. Contraband will be shown as dogs here. For age detection, we are using actual images, not of images of child exploitation, but age appropriate images, so we can show you how that works as well. So I can come in right away and see what's been captured with my list, what's been tagged. That red box indicates that it was tagged at a level 1. And then here's my Project Vic or Cade database, same thing. So I can come in and see those individually. I see them, they're tagged, it's done. I didn't even really need to do that. I have my chargeable material. I have my unique keywords that ran. I have my child exploitation here, keywords that ran. So each keyword that ran here is shown, and then underneath the files that were captured with it. But we'll show you an easier way to do that here as well. So these are all your individual captures. Let me go to the photo gallery and go up to the top. And this property panes on the bottom is movable. That shows you all the properties for the highlighted image. I'm just going to hide that here for a second, give us a little bit more real estate to look at our images here. So I have my image gallery. I can, for those of you that may wear specs like I do, you can zoom in and zoom out depending on what you're looking at. Here, if you want to put more in there or you want to put a little less, you can zoom in and out on this gallery. Again, you select the focus, you can see here. So what are we looking at? On the top, we have all this contraband brought to the top, right? I said dogs were contraband. And if I come down here a little bit, you can see all of a sudden they kind of abruptly stop. Each one of these images have a little red magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner with a warning sign, and that indicates it's a match on a keyword or a hash value. And if it's got the red line underneath it, it was automatically tagged already. So those keywords, the child exploitation keywords or the victims or the unique keywords I ask you to run at the beginning, um, are run against the file names and folder names. And if there's a hit on it, right, it collects the image and it brings it to the top for you. If I look below, there's the file name here, and it shows 12-year-old.jpg. So one of our child exploitation keywords is looking for those age categories, right? So it shows you where it was captured from or whether it was a matching hash. If I come back here and highlight, if I look down, I have a matching MD5 value, so I know that that's a match. Let me hide that again. So I have all this at the top. Great for me. Look at all this stuff. Our filters allow you first, everything that's been auto tagged, I don't need to look at. So I can go to my tag filter and say, just show me images that don't have a tag value. And I can apply that. And now those tags are gone. Whoop, there we go. Sorry, you're seeing that. I was the video played a little trick on me there. So we hid all those tags, and now I have all my matches, and they're brought to the top, so I can easily scroll through and select the matches if they need to be tagged. If they're if I'm going by level one, uh, matching as a cat one, cat two. So these are all contraband, all chargeable. I'm going to um, tag them. I'm just going to go back up to my filter again, and I'm going to reset my filter. And now you can see that's all gone. I've hidden all those tags from sight. Up on top, it's showing me. I am sorry, my video is playing a little game on me here. Um, Out of the 71,000 images that were in this gallery, we're down to 71,600 instead of 71,800. So there was about 200 that we've tagged. So what do we do now? How do I help get through and make this easier? We have a couple different things we could do here that are built into the tool. We've already gone through the auto tagging. We've gone through the keywords and how they bring them up and hashing. Um, so now let's look at what's called photo probability. Photo probability removes images based on a percentage, and it could be reversed for confidence, and I'll show you that here in a second. Photo probability filtering is applicable to all pictures within this picture file types. The score, and if I look down, if I bring it back up, and isn't something you'd put in your report. This is something that um, here. So this photo probability on this highlighted picture here shows it has a photo probability of about 80%. 80% chance that that's an image as opposed to an icon or an emoji. Our medium is 70%. So files with a score lower than 70% are very unlikely to be a photograph and more likely to be other picture types such as icons, clip arts, and similar. So if I go there, let me hide this again. If I go to my filter and what we call photo probability, and I select medium, you can see here it's 70%. So where do we get this score? As we're collecting, this is done. As we're running our scan, there's a lot of things going on in the background with regards to imaging and other parts of the tools and linking things together. But one of them is determining whether these are images or not. So if I want to apply this, I just look, I say, okay, anything better than 70% probability it's an image, show me. Anything less, filter out. So I'm going to filter that out, and I'm down to 8,958 from 71,000. It's still, you can see there's things that look like emojis and icons, and that's, one, it's AI, so it's not 100%. And two, a lot of the programs are starting to use images now instead of a lower lower quality icon or emoji. So they're actually sticking images in as these. So you're going to see those. But anyways, we went down to 8,000, and you could see if I start scanning, I'm starting to see a little bit more of what I was looking for mixed in there, right? So I'm starting to get a little bit better quality to that. The next place we could go look before we even start, picking and choosing, we always want to go, okay, there's one, bookmark it, tag it, move. But let's go in kind of an order here. We have, depending on your investigation, we're talking child exploitation today, but we can also be talking about others. We're looking for weapons, we're looking for vehicles, we're looking for currency. This does have your pornographies, your child abuse, your bestiality. So there are classifications that get done. How does the classifier work? If you notice here under picture classification, there are 9,181 pictures that were classified. But Rich, there were 71,000 images. Let's go back to that photo probability. In order for the tool to be efficient and get you to what you want, it only classifies images that have a photo probability, I think, better than 70%. So anything under the 70%, it won't. It doesn't spend its time classifying it into one of these categories. So not only do we do the pictures, we also do video frame classification. So when we collect a video, let me just change my screen here for you. These are all the videos that are on here. You can see, again, that little red magnifying glass shows up. These are the matches based on keywords or hashes. They're brought to the top for you. And when we collect um, video, we break it down into frames. First frame, last frame, 48 spaced out from in between. Uh, great, great for when you're doing these types of investigations. Man, I tell you, that case I told you about before with 3,000, right? Those were chargeable. Just imagine having to stop, start, scrub through those to make sure there's nothing in them. So with this, you could set it on your first video and just arrow down and get a pretty good idea of what's in each video. When you get to one that maybe you're not sure about, you could just go to the preview panel and play that video as well. And there you can see the keyword was on King Pass and the excerpt was on the file name. So the keyword, excerpts tab shows you the keyword hit and anything around it. But if it's a file name, it's only going to show you the file name because there is nothing around it for you. But anyways, frames are uh, broken out for you. Now, if I go back here and show you the classifier again, that's what gets classified. Those 50 frames for each one of those videos goes through the classifier. And if it finds anything, it will bring you to those. And then we have age group detection. So out of that 9,181 videos, it found 1,940 that had adults in it, 465 classified as children, 1,736 classified as infants, and 1,135 classified as toddlers. And we'll show you that here in a second. The classifier, a little bit more about that, runs post scan. So it does require a little processing power. It is AI, just like photo probability. And it gets done when the scan is finished, and it's if a scan finishes and it's sitting, let's say what we finished but you haven't gone in to analyze it yet, the classifier is still, it runs automatically. It'll run until you go out of those results or you close the program down. When you go into view results, your classifier will still be running, and you'll see these. You can come to the classifier here and see it running. To filter on them, we go into our filter, and we have our visual class, and you can see the different visual classes here: weapons, vehicles, upskirting, scan docs, portrait, pornography, people, others, currency, child abuse, and bestiality. They are graded by 5% increments. So if you're not getting, if you're getting good results at 85%, you want to go see what you get with 80. You can lower that and see how many more pictures show up there. But let me just show you here. Let me just choose weapons and see how this works. So I come through here and you can see that there are pictures that have items that look like weapons, right? So pretty good. You can, and I could just turn that off. So I still have my tags filtered out. I have my photo probability done. Um, and I'm back in here. I could do vehicles. So I come in here now and see all the pictures that have vehicles. And not only that, you can see here there's just the front of a vehicle with a license plate on it. So it does a pretty good job when you're looking for stuff within these images. So again, it's a multimedia investigation. It's not necessarily child exploitation, but um, we give you all that as well. We just happen to be covering child exploitation again today. So visual class, again, just I could turn that filter off and I'm back to my photo probability. I am looking at 8,958 images. And with that classification, I'm sorry, photo probability. Let me go back to photo probability here for a second. I'm going to reverse this just to show you. So where we're showing everything that we thought was, had a probability of being a photo. So now let's reverse this and show you everything that was filtered out. So you can always do this as a feel good, especially when you're done analyzing. You could reverse this and come through to see if there was anything that missed. Again, it's AI, but just think how fast this is now that you're just running through these. And okay, is there anything I need? Nope, there's nothing in here I need. I feel good. It did my due diligence. No victim left on a shelf. I can go back and turn that filter back off and reverse it again. Just go to the medium, apply, and I'm down to 8,900. So here's a big one, right? Let's go into our next one, which is age group. So if I choose no value, it's going to show me all the images out of these 8,000 that are not classified in one of these categories. So that's your reverse due diligence, making sure I didn't miss anything. If I want to see, the age group, you could pick and choose here by each one of these categories, especially if you're looking for a certain victim or somebody who was hands-on. Um, infant, toddler, you could pick those two categories. But here we're just going to go children, infant, toddler. We're going to select them all. It puts the age group category on it. And let me get down here a little bit. It caught some of the dogs up on top. Again, it's AI, and this is loaded with dogs, so I didn't expect that it wouldn't get some of that. But as I come down here, you can start seeing that it did a really good job of doing this. You have pictures in here where there's adults in the foreground, children in the background, children foreground, just children. You have a pretty good mixture of everything in here. So it does a really, really good job. And just imagine now, out of those 8,000, we're looking at 2,909. How easy is it to start going through that as opposed to all 8,000? And again, and I'm just going to come through here and tag a bunch of these just to show you filtering this stuff out. I'm just going to come to the end. I'm going to put another filter on, and I'm going to filter my tags again. Apply that. There we go. So now I'm down to 1,248 images out of here that I have to go through either individually or shift select or however you do it. If you got a whole page that's here, you can just select the whole page and do that as well. So we've done that. we've gone through. So hopefully you can see here that we can walk through with the filtering, first getting what you want, hashes, keywords, right? The tool brings them to the top for you. You can easily sort, filter, tag what's been selected for you. Once that's done, you could start filtering, coming down in that funnel, your photo probability, your classifier, your age group detection, and really bring you down that funnel to what you need to look at. And I showed you along the way how you can reverse those, right? And I think this one here, I have the age group detection on. I could turn that off. Go back to age group and just say no value, things that haven't been classified. And I can start going through that and see if anything was missed as well as far as age group um, was considered. So we've gone through that. We've tagged a bunch of stuff in here. Um, the next thing is I want to make a report, and this is important with the multimedia, and I want to sanitize it, right? I have it here. I can show everybody. I can make my reports. I can make an HTML. I can make a CSV. I can make a PDF. I can save that on my computer to show. They can come to the office. I can show them this stuff if it needs to be shown. That's the way we used to do it with the courts. But if I needed to send a report, if they weren't looking at it on our machine, we needed to send it somewhere else. You need to have it sanitized. So how do you sanitize this report? And it's fairly easy, and I have these videos online. The cleaning up, walking step by step through sanitizing a report and cleaning up your view takes about 8 minutes, and you get to watch that step by step. Stop it, do what it says. But I'm going to walk through you pretty quick, knowing that this is online to show. So as I'm in my gallery, filters can be on, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to turn them all off here. I'm going to go to my filter, and all the way down the bottom, it shows me where all the captures were captured from, which captures, brought pictures to the gallery. And I have a bunch. I have under child exploitation, there's keywords. Under documents, there's reference files, hash sets. A couple were caught in there, and multimedia. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different captures that show pictures. Um, the easiest way for us to do that now is to come back here and go to those 6 captures one by one. The first one was keywords, right? And if I come into keywords, I can see my column view on top. And if I bring up my property pane and see all the properties, this is everything that's available, properties to show in a report. Down below will always show you everything for yours. What shows up in this field up here in this table, it transfers to your report when you build your report. So there's a columns view. If I turn off preview, bye-bye picture, picture is no longer in the report. That's all I needed to do. So I come back to my summary page. That capture has been fixed. The next was my referenced files. Again, if I come in here, I go to columns, turn off preview. That's there. Preview's off. I come back, and if I go to my hash sets, I'm going to do the same thing. But here I'm going to stop for 1 second and show you a little trick here because it's nice and easy to view. Up above are all the columns that would show in my report. If I were to create the report right now, I turned off preview, preview won't show up. If I go to columns, you can see all these columns are turned on or turned off. I can just come down here. I want my tags. I want to show that in my report. I want my comments if I had comments. I want my excerpts, or maybe I don't want my excerpts. It might not be necessary. I could turn that off. File name, yes. File type, file group, don't need that. That's kind of an internal tool where what group was this located in. Mismatch. Was this comprehensive or was it a triage? It was comprehensive, and the extension has been changed. You can leave it in. If it doesn't matter, you can take it out. You don't want to confuse anybody when they look at your report. Origin, allocated or deleted, size, last written, the path. Linked artifacts. What's a linked artifact? When we collect a file, it looks to see if that file belongs to several artifacts. So we found this picture. This picture came in through a download history. We link it to that record. This has 3 recent file entries. We link it to those files. It was in an email. We link it to that email. It came in through a message. We link it to the message. So when you look at that image and look at the property linked artifacts, you could say right then and there, hey, this picture came in through a download. It's got recent file entries. It was sent in an email and a message. So it has user interaction with it. It's just not sitting there. They can't say the virus did it, right? So you have putting the user to the file, if you will. So we're going to leave that one in visual class. So turn that off. Don't confuse anybody. That's an internal mechanism that puts together the percentages as it's going through on what class it belongs to. There's no need to show that in your report. Age group category, if there is one, auto tagged and captures. I could turn that off. Whether it was auto tagged, that's kind of internal for you as well. You really don't need to show that in a report. So I turned those on or off, and look, I cleaned up my view really nice. It turned off preview. I'm going to go back out, and we would just continue to do that for each one of these categories. So when we go to report, and I want to build my HTML report, I'm going to show you here. These are my category ones. And if you look down this column, I have all the check marks of each one of the captures that those were and how many were captured. Here's the level 3s and where they were. And if I come all the way over to column, it says include original. So you want to make sure we uncheck that, because if we don't, the preview won't be there, but the link to the file will. So by turning that off, we've now turned off those files being exported as part of the report. I'm going to just turn off my timeline and my files view. We're just going to make a report of what we selected here, and I'm going to export that in HTML. That's done. I'm going to open this up for you, hopefully. Okay, let me open up this report. Drag that in. So we have our summary page. It shows you all the reporting that was on here. I go over to the left. It shows me each one of the captures that has the images in it or the tags. The keywords comprehensive we ran. You can see now I have a nice cleaned up view there. File name, all the properties, no preview, right? Referenced files, same thing. I took out the preview, but you can see in here I have some of the properties I didn't clean up. I wanted to kind of show you what they both look like. Hash sets, we didn't clean those up. We have all the properties for that. But looks nice, no previews. And here's what would happen if we did not clean up that view. So here's what it looks like. It is not linked because I did turn off the thing, but the preview was left on by mistake and it would show up in the report. So before you go through and send this out to somebody, just click through your report real quick, make sure that it's not there. And you can see here under visual class, I have all these percentages. Like I said, you don't need to confuse people with that. You could just turn that off and keep what's important to you. So very easy to clean up the report, very easy to sanitize it. Hopefully you saw we built that funnel, whittling it down. First, bringing everything to the top, cream rises to the top, kind of your results rise to the top. Get rid of those and start filtering down that funnel and going through your work. So that's what I have here for the webinar, for the multimedia. Hopefully helped you out and kind of Gave you some tips and tricks along the way. Some of the features we have in there, a bunch of different ways to beat that horse, if you will. Different methods you can use, but that's kind of nice, clean way to do it. This is all part of our training package as well. So some of the stuff you saw today is in our courses. Mobile takes 8 hours, computer takes 16 hours. Put them together, pro, it takes about 20 hours. We have our online how to on our learn page. So you can go in there, and if you search for sanitize, you will see the video on how to sanitize a report and clean up your views. It's really, really helpful, especially if you haven't done one in a while. Help you walk through that. Support, second to none. Support at adfsolutions.com goes to our team. Somebody will get back to you. Look for our blog posts, anything you want. Screen capture is one of the popular ones right now, and one of the things we're also teaching. So thank you. Let me just check here, see if we had any questions come in. I don't see anything in the question panel. Don't see anything in the chat. I do see that we had quite a few people hang out, so you can hear me. And with that, I will say have a great day and keep on catching the bad guys. Thank you very much.